Hey team, we have been having a number of people at training asking about losing weight, and there are so many misconceptions that I want to debunk and talk about in this video. And really there are three super common mistakes that you need to think about in order to make weight loss work and make weight loss stick. And one of those, as a little bonus tip, is around really thinking in the first place, am I wanting to lose weight just for a particular purpose? What am I wanting to lose weight for? There's a massive move towards body image and body love and being happy in the skin that we're in, and we really need to think about what are the reasons why I'm wanting to do this. Is it to please someone else? Is it to fit to an image of something that I think I need to be, or is it something for me? And so really just spend a moment before that. I wasn't going to talk about that in this video, but it's something that we really need to be thinking about, particularly in terms of weight loss. Why are we even doing this in the first place? If it's around wanting to be to get to a certain image that's completely unrealistic for where I'm at in my life at the moment, is that the right reasons? If I'm wanting to do something to look a certain way for someone else, or what's that about? So coming back to those, and if you want to know more about that, I'd love to talk about it. It's something that we don't talk about as a society. There's a lot of pressures on women to look a certain way, and it has a massive impact on the mental health of our women and their satisfaction and contentment with being in their own skin, which is incredibly tough to not feel comfortable or confident in your own skin. So if you want something to learn more about that, let me know. I'll come back to that in another video. Mistake number one, no plan. I've got another video on how to develop a plan and how to develop some really clear goals to help manage and track that progress. Most people go, okay, well, I want to lose weight, great, but in terms of having a clear plan that actually fits for your body type and where you're at in your life at the moment, no, haven't got that far. Often we then go back to things that we know have worked for us in the past. Say, for example, I used to do park runs, and I used to do high intensity, and I used to go to the gym 3 or 4 times a week. Well, that might have been great 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when you didn't have kids and you had a different job that maybe didn't have the same kinds of demands as you progress in your job that you have now on your time and your mental real estate. So first of all, no plan, or I guess picking a plan that is now outdated. So it's like going back to an iOS version 1 when that's not where your life is currently at. So mistake number 1, no plan. Mistake number 2, this is the big one. We don't target the right variables, or the variables that are going to make the biggest change, the biggest impact. If you think of leverage, what variables could I target that are going to make the greatest change for my health and weight loss? And this is probably going to be one of the first times you're going to hear a trainer tell you training doesn't make the biggest impact on your weight loss. Trainers don't want to tell you that because that doesn't work out in their best interest. People go, oh, come and train and we'll get buff and lean and ripped, and training really is a post strategy. Once we've got other things in place first, training doesn't leverage the greatest change the greatest results in your weight loss. So coming back to, for example, if you have a thyroid issue, thyroid, thyroxine, the master hormone produced by the thyroid, helps determine metabolism. So you could be training your guts out, you could be dialing in your nutrition, but if it's not in relation to a plan, particularly for someone with thyroid issues, then all of that work at the gym, or the workouts, and the nutrition, or you thinking that you're eating the right foods, may actually not be the right plan for someone with a thyroid issue. Let's look at another hormone, cortisol, our master stress hormone. If you are someone that you would know within yourself if you're someone that doesn't manage stress particularly well, or just has a lot of competing demands on your time and mental real estate. So it might be unfair to say that you don't manage stress well. It might be more fair to say that you just have a whole lot of things and the pattern is full. And if that's the instance, your cortisol levels are high, cortisol and fat loss don't go together. I've spoken about that many times before. If your body is in a fight or flight kind of state, if it's in a stressed state, evolutionary wise, your body's going to hold on to fat, hold on to energy to conserve for needing that to get you through that crisis. Because historically, our stress hormones were released in a more of a short-term for more of a short-term response to a crisis, whereas now we can be in a stress state for quite a prolonged time. So we have that cortisol churning through, and that inhibits fat loss. So the other bit to that is why not training, is because if I'm already in a stress state, my cortisol levels are already high, and then I'm going to ramp up my training. Training is also a stress on your body. Training can also release and signal cortisol release. So I think, I'm not working out hard enough. I'm going to ramp up my my training schedule, and essentially what that's doing is putting more stress on your body, increasing hormone levels, and further inhibiting your fat loss. So that's another example of where. So there's two examples there. One is, for example, around thyroid functioning. The other is around cortisol and your stress hormone. The third would be around reductions in estrogen as we, well, not we, but women as you age. So if you're over 30 and female, your estrogen levels are a lot lower than they were when you were 20, in your 20s. Things like estrogen helps control the elasticity around our skin, but also things like our connective tissue. So if I then go and do a high intensity program, you know what, I've heard intensity is the key to fat loss, which I've spoken about before, and in many cases it is, unless you're highly stressed. You might have a thyroid issue, or you're aging, which we all are, and your connective tissue and elasticity is not what it was, which means we go out for a high intensity workout and you ping something, you end up getting an injury from a high intensity sprint that you're not used to, and then you end up injuring yourself. So that's the risk when we try a weight loss, what we think is going to be an effective weight loss strategy, without actually considering if it's right for our body type and where we're at now in our phase of life. Okay. The third thing is we often make things so they're the two mistakes so far. We haven't got a clear plan, or we don't target the right variable. Targeting the right variable is such a massive mistake that I see so many people make. Third and final one that I'm going to talk about today is we make things too hard, too complex. So I'm going to start drinking water. I'm going to start working on my sleep. I'm going to start working on managing my stress. I'm going to start working out 5 times a week. I'm going to start increasing the intensity of my workouts, because I've heard this special kind of intense workout makes the best results for fat loss. I'm going to start changing my diet. I love carbs, but I'm going to go keto and not eat a carb ever again. We make all these changes at once, without targeting the right variables, like I've spoken about in the previous mistake, but also it's all too hard. And what do you think the likelihood of you sticking to that is? So when you make things too hard and you try and change too many things at one time, essentially you're setting yourself up to fail before you've even got going. So we know, for example, around making things too complex, is that often we take all the good stuff out. So we take out all the things that you enjoy and that bring you enjoyment and satisfaction food-wise. For example, we put in a whole bunch of stuff. You like pizza? No, you're never going to have pizza again. You're going to have these. I've heard these kinds of foods aren't great for weight loss. I'm going to eat all these other things, and you've got no chance of really sticking to it in the longer term. So then you end up falling off the wagon, you've set yourself up to fail, and you end up feeling more despondent, more discouraged, than you were when you started. Okay, so help yourself out. Do yourself a favour by looking at those 3 mistakes. So, do I have a plan? Do I have a plan that targets the variables? Do I know what those variables are for me that would make the biggest difference? Am I someone that is more likely to have high cortisol levels because of the volume of mental tasks that I take on? Do I have a thyroid issue that we know impacts metabolism and weight loss? Do I have another health issue, an injury, for example, that might impact my ability to train? Am I getting older, or have I noticed differences in my energy levels, my flexibility, my mobility, that might be something to consider if I'm going to embark on a high intensity training program? The gauge for that last one, is it too complex? Does it sound too hard? I guess the question is, if 0 is like no chance in hell I can't do this, and 10 out of 10 is like, yep, absolutely no problem. If you were coming up with a plan in your head for how you're going to lose weight, and you go, oh, I'm not quite sure, what about this, what about that, what about that, what about that, and you are not really clear around it, that's a sign to you that it's too complex. So have a look out for those mistakes. Do I have a clear plan? Am I targeting the right variables for me? Is it something that's simple and easy that I can follow and follow for the long term? And the question really there is, do I want to just lose a little bit of weight for a short amount of time or for a particular purpose, or is this something that I actually want to change and make make a difference for me in the longer term? And that 4th little bonus tip, which I started talking about, is really, why are we doing this in the first place? Is this to get myself to a body type, or a certain image that I have in my mind that is completely unrealistic, and setting myself up to fail, or doing it to please someone else, doing it because I think, my husband would like it, or am I doing it for ways that are internal and intrinsic for me? Am I doing it so that I can improve my energy levels, so that I can feel better about myself, so that I can have confidence? And some of those things, again, weight loss might not be the answer for some of those. So it's not saying that weight loss is not possible. Completely the opposite. Weight loss is entirely possible, but just being clear around the reasons why we are embarking on that journey to start with. A lot of time people say, I just want to lose a few pounds, or I'm just feeling a bit flabby around here. And what I'm noticing is a lot of disparaging body language, body talk. People are talking about their bodies in a really disparaging way, and that really is a sign for, maybe we're actually not asking ourselves the right questions here. Okay, I hope this video was helpful. Let me know what bits resonated with you. Let me know what bits you'd like to, learn a bit more about. And if you're one of the people that train with me or work with me in another capacity, ask about that plan. Ask me to go through with you what are those variables that could make the biggest difference for my health and weight loss. That's really easy for me to see. I was talking to someone about the benefits of getting help. Why seek professional help? And one of the key advantages is that we all have blind spots, and by nature of a blind spot, it's really hard for you to see, but it's often really easy for someone from the outside that knows you, that cares about you, and is invested in your health and well-being to see. So often it's really easy for me to see what kind of variables a client could tweak to make the biggest change, but it can be quite different to maybe what that person might see for themselves. And that third one is around, if you'd like to come up with a simple plan with some accountability checks that's going to target those variables, that's what I'm here for. So if you're one of the people that train with me, use my time and expertise and the time that we have together under tension. The time under tension. We've worked together for some time. That's what I'm here for. All right. So looking forward to continuing the conversation with you, and let me know what you'd like to learn a bit more about from what we've spoken about today. All right. Thanks for watching.